Hey everybody, it's Monster back again with Opus Gaming, and I'm here today to bring you guys my GrandisKuwagamon deck that has been updated post the ban list. Losing the 2 GrandisKuwagamon is actually honestly such a big hit to the deck, but I think that we still have, or Grandis still has, the slot as the most aggressive green strategy that we have, overarching all of our green strategies. We still have green hybrids that we can still be pretty powerful with, or Bloom Lord Hydra, but even both of those decks are strong, but they're not quite as quick and powerful as Grandis. I think that you still have some insane plays, some insane turns, and then you still have some really crazy matchups, especially into the decks like Greymon or Greymon Tribals and all of their different variants with the Black-War Greymons included in that. And I think that Grandis going from a tier 1 deck, I think that it's all that's happened is that it's slotted down to a tier 1.5 deck. At the very worst, I would say, or at the very best, I would say it's still tier 1. Deck is insane. I can't wait to show you guys my list and talk about some of the changes that I've made and some of the playstyle differences that I made, but still why this deck will still just aggressively push in so many decks' faces. It's crazy. It'll still beat a lot of decks. So before we get into it, you guys already know we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. So if you're not subbed, drop a sub down below. I'm going to have a link to our giveaway information down below as well. But once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're going to be getting our 1K subscriber giveaway going. So let's hurry up and get there. Let's try to grind our way up there. But if you guys are just here to support, leave a like, leave a comment. But we're going to get into the deck profile. I'm going to show you guys why Grandis is still tier 1 right now. Alright, we're going to be starting off the deck profile with the eggs, and one of the big changes that comes to the Grandis kind of deck profiles in general is that you can't play Yokomon anymore, and you have to play Multimon. If you guys have been following the channel for a long time, you guys know that I've been on Multimon for a little bit. Actually, I really do prefer this egg just because it works with kind of like 90% of your general cards instead of one combo. But Multimon's actually a really powerful egg, and it's not a hit to Grandis right now, the fact that you have to run it. So we'll leave the Multimon up here. Getting into our level 3s, we are going to just have a package of 12 right now. With the new mulligan rules, you have a little bit more freedom with your ratios, and one of the big places that you get to express that is with the amount of rookies that you run. Running 12 feels very consistent because anytime I don't see an opener into a 4, or just a good opener that I like, I'm gonna mulligan it. It does help playing a high number of something like a memory boost or a searcher or tamer, but starting off with the Terriermon, this card is just a good floodgate to have for your general matchups, and you do just want to see it consistently. Cocoamon X Antibody is still just a good searcher. It's a good card to slam now that we are very reliant on seeing X Antibody. Me and my friends and some of my teammates were talking about, and this deck kind of feels close to like a War Greymon deck, where you really want to find your X Antibody, you really want to find your X Antibody Digivolutions, but finding that X Antibody option card is really important, and Cocoamon X Antibody just doubles as having that ability super consistently. So we have that as a 4-of as well. And then we have Cocoamon. This is the most important card in the new deck because this is how you have your inherent security check +1 on a Grandis that can swing 2 times. That's your best setup right now, and it's your most aggressive setup. Finding this specific level 3 amongst your other level 3s is kind of difficult. It's, you know, I mean, you have a 33% chance to hit this as your level 3, but it's just so powerful. You have so much cycle in the deck now that you've changed up cards. You have so many searchers that you don't always have to go with your first stack and raising, which is nice. If you have to cycle cards just to see extra cards in hand, you do that, and sometimes that helps you find a Cocoamon. But having this card be security check +1 really turns you up in the ending part of the game and helps you close out games very consistently. Moving into our level 4s, this is another space that we should talk about, the mulligan rules, because we're down to 10 level 4s. This is something that we're kind of limit testing actually right now, and just seeing if it's possible running 10 level 4s as opposed to 11 like we've been running in the past deck profiles. But this has been pretty consistent. Finding these 2 really depends on your early searchers, but I see it decently consistently. So what all of these cards, they're all inherent effects, and that's something that we're really focusing on in the new Grandis landscape. It's not just about digibursting all of your sources, getting a bunch of checks. Now we have to kind of have not just like a board control-y kind of inheritable, but you have to have value in your inheritables because your Grandis is just kind of one stack doing a lot by itself. So Kuwagamon X Antibody, this is just another form of piercing, and it digivolves on top of your regular Kuwagamon. So that's extremely nice, and it can just give you an extra digivolve in raising. Sometimes it is the key piece where if you have like a cool boy and you're at 3 memory and your opponent has 2 Digimon on the board, you can get up into your GrandisKuwagamon play by going into this guy and triggering your cool boy right away. So that's nice. Kuwagamon has just a crazy inheritable effect. When your Digimon deletes one of your opponent's Digimon, you can keep one of their suspended Digimon suspended during their unsuspend phase. So you can basically lock something down or soft lock it down, which can be super nice in the games where you can't close your opponent out right away, but you're trying to make a good impact on the board state. Or even if this is just your level 4 and a level 5 stack, this is an extremely good inheritable to have. And then if you ever get it stuck on board as just a level 4, at the start of your turn, you still suspend one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. So that's just one of their rookies or one of their small Digimon. And then we have the Stingmon. Stingmon is actually really, really good. And if I do go up to an 11th level 4, it's for sure going to be him. He's been overperforming. It really helps you get into the Grandis. Now that we're abusing X antibody, being able to just bring your Digimon up and have a really good impact on the board. That's been something that's been really consistent with this, is really nice. Having X antibody and then swinging into something with a Grandis and then being able to pop it back to your turn because you maybe had to pass over one memory with your general Digivolution combo is really nice as well as an option. So this is just kind of one of your extenders, and it's a really good extender. Getting into level 5s, this is going to be really quick because we just have 4 Okuomon X antibody and then 4 promo Okuomon. These are just staples for the deck, so this is something that you're pretty much always going to run for any insectoid deck for forever now. So now we're going to talk about this is kind of the fun part. It's the new level 6 lineup, which is going to be 1 GrandisKuwagamon because he's limited to 1. I find him so frequently though, it's ridiculous. So sometimes it just doesn't feel like the deck got hit. And then we have 3 GrandisKuwagamon. It is so nice not having to run 4. It is so nice not clogging on this card in your early turn hands with just like 2 or 3 of them, and then you draw 1. It's just really nice not seeing 4 of it specifically. So it is very limiting. Like right now, it feels like all of your level 6s are turned on by X antibody, so you have a little bit of a limiting factor. But when you just X antibody with this card, and it's just really important to get this combo. This combo is crazy because you can check for 4 security, any form of piercing. So it's either this level 5 or this level 4 will give you piercing. You can help just kind of clear your opponent's board out, but you don't care if your opponent has a board or not. Really what you want to do is just kind of swing through their security, make as big of an impact as possible, and give them only 1 turn to respond and kill this on that turn. So the deck can still be extremely aggressive, and that's something that green doesn't have access to super consistently. So it's just nice that we still have Grandis to do that for us. But you're running 3 of it is just crazy nice just because it was a brick before playing 4 of. And we're talking about GrandisKuwagamon X antibody. I was extremely inspired by how Bloomlord has Hydramon as kind of just they titter between being super aggressive or super controlling, and this card does have a good amount of aggression within itself. If you do have Okuomon X antibody under this card, it's 3 checks just by its 1 attack, and then if you have the X antibody option when it comes out, it can bottom deck something that's suspended. So having that effect is really nice. It gives you a little bit of options for removal, and it's a good level 6 to, you can still just go into this card when you don't have your GrandisKuwagamon or your GrandisKuwagamon. And if your opponent has an extremely threatening card like an Aristramon or something that's just not protected and you just need it off the board, this card can do that, get a check in or get 2 checks in, or sometimes even get 3 checks in and make a huge impact on your opponent's board. So GrandisKuwagamon X antibody has been overperforming. At the end of the deck profile, that's kind of when I'll talk about what cards I'll maybe swap out and what card slots I'm looking for more of. But next up we have Quartzmon. This is still the top end. This card is still crazy in so many matchups. This gives you your hybrid matchup. It lets you still fight all of the new decks. So like Hunters, the new red hybrids. It lets you fight blue hybrids. It lets you fight blue flare. The list goes on. It lets you fight Machine Dramon, etc., etc., etc. Quartzmon is fantastic. Sometimes when you're doing, even if it is just 2 checks with Grandis, if you can end on a Quartzmon and the Quartzmon is cheap, or you can swing with Grandis, unsuspend, and then go into the Quartzmon, and your Quartzmon is turned on for its trashing ability. When you declare that attack for that second attack, you can trash the top security and then get your 1 check in. So you can do 3 checks with a Grandis if you're still going to end on a Quartzmon. But the nice thing with Quartzmon is that it still gets turned on by a Okuomon, but it's just very, very usable. Quartzmon is fantastic, and it comes in as it's the perfect level 7. Honestly, it comes in so many situations, and it never feels bad. That is one card I kind of do want to go back up to 3, like my first Grandis list was. But yeah, that's just something to talk about. Green options are easy, 4 green memory boosts and 1 high mega blaster. There's a little bit of talk about like switching up some of these ratios just in general. High mega blaster is crack though when you don't have Grandis or when you don't have Quartzmon and you just need to lock your opponent out of 1 turn. If you're on 3 memory and you're in raising on level 4, you can just lock down the card that's threatening to kill you, Digivolve into your 5, pass turn, and now you're on 5 going back into your next turn. Having that option is extremely important, and I've talked about this before, but High Mega Blaster is just a part of the GrandisKuwagamon archetype now. It's perfect for the deck. If you haven't ever tried this card in the deck, this is the one card I would highly suggest just try this in any of your Grandis versions. Whether you're playing GrandisKuwagamon instead of the Hercules-Kabuterimon or whatever else, card is just really good. Getting into our tamers, we have a Mimi. The one Mimi, we'll just talk about this really quick just because it's not that important. It can help you set up tamers. You don't really want to feed into the Greymons and other decks tamer control. So a lot of times it's better to go into memory boost, but Mimi is just, it's a good card. I like it at 1. I see it enough. I don't feel like I am ever hunting for it or that I need to find it. Cool Boy is so cool. This is cool. We'll just do Cool Boy in the X antibody. Cool Boy is so cool though because it's such a good extender. It can find you. So we have a Digimon in every single level that hits X antibody except for our level 7. So Cool Boy can find you a piece of your chain at any point, but it can be difficult. But what it finds is X antibody. It's really nice. Like I was talking about earlier, if you're on a 3 memory setup, so one of these 2 cards and a Cool Boy, you can go Digivolve into your X antibody level 4, tap Cool Boy to go up to 4, draw the extra card or whatever, Digivolve into your Okuamon, go down to 1, and then if you go into Okuamon X antibody, suspend one of your opponent's cards, you go back up to 2. You can either Digivolve into GrandisKuwagamon if you have it, but you probably won't, but just go into GrandisKuwagamon with an X antibody swing, and if your opponent has a second Digimon, after the first swing, when he unsuspends, he'll suspend the extra card, and that'll gain you back that 1 extra memory to keep it on your turn to be able to go from level 4 to level 6, which is really important and an extremely cool combo. And yeah, no, I've always thought that was a good reason to be playing Cool Boy. So next up, we have X Antibody, the option. This card is just crazy, or not crazy expensive, crazy important for the deck because it turns on all of your level 6s. So all of your level 6s pretty much feel vanilla if you don't have this card, except for a Grandis that has when you have the promo GrandisKuwagamon. But outside of that, this card is a good security bomb. It's an important piece for the deck, and it just, yeah, it does everything that you need. So this is going to be the new version of GrandisKuwagamon. It's super consistent. It's still pretty much the same. None of your matchups have changed, and that's what's important. You still win all the matchups that you were winning before for the most part, but it does give people definitely have 1 additional turn on top of whatever setup that you had. So if you were having a bricky game, your opponent has 1, if you brick with this version of the deck, your opponent has 1 extra turn because you just won't be able to be as impactful. And I think that slowing it down by 1 turn is totally fair and totally fine because GrandisKuwagamon fights with Bloomlord in some people's eyes as the most aggressive green deck, but in my opinion, it's just by far the most aggressive green deck. I do like Hydramon and Bloomlordmon. I have a full alternate playset of each of them, but I feel like GrandisKuwagamon has been the most efficient aggressive deck for a long time. That's just for just focusing on aggression. So now we have Hercules-Kabuterimon. That's something we're thinking about. And like I was talking about before, some cards I think I might switch. I do want to get back up into another Quartzmon, so we could even do something like just 1 Hercules-Kabuterimon X antibody going to a Quartzmon. Or if you're going to leave that, you totally can. You could even drop possibly 1 Cool Boy to add to the Quartzmon, and then I'm thinking about swapping a green memory boost if I really feel like I need to that other Stingmon. So it just depends. If I feel like I'm usually going level 4 into green memory boost over and over again, I'll think about that a little bit more, but for the most part, sometimes it's green. It's just Digivolve into this, Digivolve into 4, and then green memory boost, and that feels fantastic. So this is something I'll keep you guys up to. This deck is definitely still the same tier it was. It's definitely a tier 1 deck. If anything, I'd say it's tier 1.5 at the worst, but give this deck a test. Let me know what you guys think. A lot of you guys are here for GrandisKuwagamon, so I hope you guys do like this type of deck profile. Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. So you guys already know, leave a like. And this is me, Jamonster with Opus Gaming. Take care, you guys.